At the end of World War II, the Nazis were now vanquished. They were put on trial in the city of Nuremberg. And finally, it came down to a number of them who were left to be executed, 10 of them. And they were led to the gallows, and they were executed the same way Haman would be in the book of Esther. And the one of them who was one of the worst, I mean, it's hard to say worst among the Nazi leaders, but it's a guy named Julius Streicher. And he was a rabid anti-Semite, used to walk around with a whip, and he stirred up the people to destroy the Jews. And as they led him up to the gallows, his last words were, Purim, 1946. He was identifying it. He knew enough of the Bible or about the Jewish people that there was a thing called Purim. Actually, the Nazis banned the holiday of Purim because of its message. Because it said that those who would destroy the Jewish people would be destroyed. They banned it. And now here he is heading to his death in Nuremberg. And he says, Purim, 1946. He is linking himself to Haman. And he dies the same way Haman died. It goes all the way back. God said, I will war against Amalek from generation to generation. So imagine you're back there in Persia, Jewish, and you see this thing come up. You've got no power. You've got no rights. And you have Haman about to destroy you with the power of the king. But it shows you that actually it all began. It happened to begin back then. It began with Amalek and it began with Agag and Saul. That what Saul did by not following God is coming to its fulfillment. In the Old Testament, in the Hebrew Scriptures, spiritual things are shown through physical realities. So here, when you deal with evil, here they're dealing with evil people, physical people. They're warring physically, but it speaks of warring spiritually. And what it's saying is, when you fight your good fight, you cannot compromise at all. There are no prisoners. When you deal with sin, you cannot coexist. There are no prisoners. And here it all becomes at this meeting that shows this total principle that's so important to get in your life. It's when Saul and Samuel meet up in the place called Gilgal, and then Saul is told what the mistake he made. This is called the Gilgal Principle. When dealing with evil, when dealing with sin, if you let a little go, you compromise a little, it's not going to stop. If you give sin, evil, an inch, it will take a mile in your life. You cannot deal with it. You cannot negotiate with sin. You cannot coexist with sin. You cannot flirt with sin. The only way to deal with sin is to destroy it. Even in the Middle Ages and onward, and many times in history, for a long time, in much of history, wars were fought usually between soldiers, professional soldiers or forces, rather than the whole population. In the Civil War, General William Tecumseh Sherman of the Union forces helped introduce a new form of war called total war. When he marched on Atlanta, he destroyed everything. It wasn't just on the battlefield, but when they would go through places, they burned the places. When they go through railroad tracks, they destroyed them. His strategy was cut off every line of supply. Everything that is supporting this war, cut it off, or the war is never going to end. So it is with sin. The only way to deal with sin is total war. You give room a little bit, it's going to grow, and it's ultimately going to seek to destroy you. Any sin. It's like a cold. You have a cold, you don't think much of it, but if you didn't have an immune system, that cold would kill you. I mean, you have a little cough, you have a little thing, whatever it is, a little infection, but if you don't have an immune system, it kills you. Because the end or the purpose of that thing is ultimately to destroy you. So with any sin, even if it's a little sin, its purpose is to destroy you. Even a little sin, purpose is to destroy you. And the only reason it doesn't is because you've got a spiritual immune system. As much as you fight it, as much as you don't let it go in there. There was a Twilight Zone of a man who comes to this place where this religious order of these old men are keeping a prisoner, and they're saying, don't listen to the prisoner, don't listen at all, the prisoner is the devil. He's disguised. We found him finally. We locked him up, and the guy starts listening to the guy. He seems really sympathetic, this prisoner, and says, please let me go. These people are crazy. Finally, he lets him go, and as he lets him go, he starts morphing into the devil. And all of a sudden, they says, then came World War I and World War II and everything there. And he gave a little room to the enemy, and the enemy just took it and went crazy. We have a word in English called utopia. It speaks of some kind of paradise or something that's generally made by man, a paradise. The word can be taken in Greek, utopia or topos, can mean the good place, but it also can mean the place that doesn't exist, the no place, the zero place. The root words are al topos, no place. In Ephesians, you find those words, al topos. It says, and here's the verse that has it. It says, give al topos, give no place to the devil. Give the devil zero room. Don't give him a little in your life. Don't flirt with a sin. Don't give a little allowance. Don't give a little coexistence. Give him zero room in your life. You can't play with fire. If your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. It's not telling you to do the literally. It's telling you that's how serious it is. That's how you deal with sin. How do you deal with gossip? A little gossip. It starts out as an Agag. It becomes a Haman. It'll poison your thoughts. It'll poison your heart. It'll poison your attitude. A lot of people in the Lord go bad because they listen to gossip. And it destroys their walk. It destroys their ministry. Total war.
To find out how you can receive more of Jonathan's teachings, to receive special free gifts, or get in touch, go to hopeoftheworld.org or call toll-free 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821. You can also get more at Jonathan Cahn's Facebook page or write us direct at Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA. Hope of the World is dedicated to the goal of spreading God's Word and salvation to every land and people. We do this by spreading the Word throughout the world and sponsoring compassion projects to the most poor and needy around the earth. To get in touch or have a part in God's work, just write to Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA. Or go to hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821.